I'm gonna say over 25 years.
Hi everyone.
Hello guys, in this video I'm gonna show you how to play Disney Hocus Pocus Tricks and Wits card game. Hocus Pocus is a movie that I have not seen in, I'm gonna say over 25 years. So for contents, you get the instruction booklet, 4 tokens, a D12 die, a small deck of cards. Amongst them there's Witches actions, Kids actions, and 6 pieces of a candle. And there's also 13 Hocus Pocus cards and 4 die reference cards. This is a team-based game. It is played for 2, 3, or 4 players. And so you're wondering how a game like this is played with 3 players. There is a way, you'll see. So one team plays as the kids, and the other as the witches. So to set things up, the kids team play on one side, and then the witches play on the other. Make sure that the appropriate teammates sit next to each other. Give each player a reference card, and the team playing as the kids get all 4 of the tokens. I'm not going to take these out of the square cardboard, but when you do play, make sure you obviously take them out of the cardboard. And also, place the 12-sided die nearby. Each team takes their respective action cards, shuffles them, and deals 3 to each player on their respective team. Then place the remaining deck face down for the respective teammates to reach. All players look at the Hocus Pocus cards, and when they're done, flip them face down, shuffle them, and deal 1 card to each player. If a player is playing by itself, give them a second card. The remaining 9 Hocus Pocus cards are then placed face down on the table in a 3x3 grid as shown like this. Then you're going to build the candle from top to bottom in numerical order. The candle represents the number of rounds in a game, and you'll see it in action a little bit later. But as you can see, this is what a 4-player setup looks like. This is a 3-player setup, where the player that does not have a teammate gets 2 cards to start with. Their opponents only get 1 card to start with each. And for a 2-player setup, which is 1-on-1, each player gets 2 cards to start with. Now this is how the game is played. Of course, this game has 6 rounds according to the number of candle cards. At the start of each round, each player plays 1 of the 3 cards from their hands face down. When everyone is ready, all the players play their action cards face up at the same time, and all the actions are performed, one at a time, in order from lowest number to highest. For example, this card over here goes first because the number 13 is lower than 14. Once all the actions have been played and resolved, the round is over. And when that happens, the candle starts to burn down. Take the topmost candle card and place it on top of the one below it as shown. Then all players discard all the action cards for that round, including the ones that they just played, and draw 3 new cards for each player. If any of the respective decks ever runs out of cards, simply shuffle the respective discard piles and create a new deck out of it. That's the basics of the game, but there's more to it. Let's talk about the stash next. Every player has their own stash, which is their own Hocus Pocus cards laying face down in front of them. You may look at your own cards at any time, and whenever you take a card, you add it to your own stash face down, and you can choose to place it on any end of the row. But when you do this, you can't rearrange your order unless an action tells you to. You can only have up to 3 cards in your stash. So when you're about to take a 4th card, you first have to choose which of the other cards in your stash that you have to give up and place back into the center. And another thing, in a 3-player game, the player without a teammate can still have up to 3 cards in their stash, but their opponents can only have up to 2. You can say anything you want to your teammate, but everybody can hear what you're saying. You can say what you've seen for cards and what you have in your stash. You can tell the truth, but you can also lie as a bluff. But no matter what, everybody is listening. If you don't have a teammate, you may perform what is called a shadow action, which can take place immediately before or after you use your action card on your turn. The shadow action that you perform depends on the certain round. Shadow actions are not used in a 4-player game. Of the Hocus Pocus cards, 4 of them are trick cards. If a trick from your stash is moved by an opponent, then you immediately reveal that trick card. That opponent finishes their turn as normal, moving the trick card. But before another action gets taken, you get to roll the die as a bonus. There are also 6 matching pair cards. There's a pair of brooms, a pair of vacuum cleaners, and a pair of mops. During the game, if you have a matching pair in your stash, you may reveal them at the end of your turn, remove the matching pair from the game, and then you get to roll the die 2 times. Now remember, these tokens can only be used by kids. And at this point, you're probably wondering, what do they do? Whenever a kid player plays an action that has them mark a card, place a token on any one Hocus Pocus card in the game. Then whenever a witch player plays an action that has them take a card, that witch must take the card that has the token on it. If there are more than one Hocus Pocus card that has a token on it, then the witch can pick amongst those specific cards. And then when a witch does take a Hocus Pocus card with a token on it, that token is removed from the card. There's one thing to keep in mind. All actions are optional. So if you feel like you have an action that you don't want to use, you may pass, but it's recommended that you do perform your action. When you perform an action from a dice roll, simply follow what it does on the reference card. And if there is a certain word that you don't know what it does in this game, consult the last page of the instruction manual shown here and just simply read what it does. For example, you roll the die and you get this symbol, which tells you to push one. If you don't know what push does, simply find it and read what it tells you to do. Once all 6 rounds are done, the candle burns out and the game is over. At that point, all players reveal all of their Hocus Pocus cards from their stash. If any one player has the book, that player and its teammate, if they have one, win the game. But if one player has both special cards from their stack, then that player and their teammate, if they have one, wins the game, no matter who has the book. But remember, only one player must have both cards in their stash to win. If neither player has the book or both special cards, then it's a draw. And that is how you play Disney Hocus Pocus Tricks and Wits card game. This is a very convoluted card game, so the best way to understand it is to simply buy a copy and play it for yourself. So now I'm going to end this video by showing you all of the different action cards from both the kids and witches decks. There are only 5 unique actions. Let's start with the kids. The first one is Danny. Slide a card from your stash to your teammate, or roll the die. Max. Swap a card, or take a card from the center. Allison. Peek at a card, then swap a card. Binks. Roll the die. And teamwork. Each kid peeks at a card, then they shuffle their stash. And finally, the witch's actions. Winnie. Swap a card, or remove a mark. Sisters. Each witch takes a card from the center, then they shuffle their stash. Billy Butcherson. Roll the die. Sarah. Peek at a card, then take a card from the center. And Mary. Peek at 2 cards. There you go. Have a happy Halloween. Thanks for watching. Like and subscribe for more. And don't forget to check out my gaming channel, Markis P Gaming, for video game Let's Play content. I'll see you later, but until then, like always, take care.